Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that wherever you are happy, healthy, and at peace. I clearly, with a divorce and a slew of exes, am an expert on relationships. But I don't want this to sound like a relationship episode or a relationship podcast, because that's not the true form of it. This is sharing my experience and what I've gathered from being in quite a few unhealthy, toxic relationships before I really figured out what I wanted and figured out how to let go of what people have done to me. That's a story for another time. But what I really want to talk about and highlight is energetic residue. Maybe this is something you're familiar with. Maybe this is the first time you've heard that weird, very woo-woo term. But what it really boils down to is when you say, okay, this person hurt me, so that's why I'm this way. It is when you are holding on to what happened in a previous relationship or a previous dynamic or situation, whatever the case may be, and you are saying, this person made me this way. And while I want to take a moment to highlight that your feelings are valid, your experiences are valid, and what you've been through is valid, it's important to differentiate an experience versus a present reality. Because what most of us do, I am so guilty of this, most people that I know are guilty of this, is when we have a relationship, whether it was mostly positive or mostly negative, we tend to compare the next person that enters that space to what happened in the past. And a lot of times we have a very skewed view of what actually happened. Granted, there are situations that were really, really awful or mostly positive, but what we tend to do is we say, well, this person messed me up, so that's the way I am. That's why I'm the way I am. That's why I do this and that, and that's why you can't talk to me this way. And it's important to have boundaries, but are they boundaries that you are setting, or are they trauma responses to what you went through with this other party? Are you saying that you want things to be this way and be a certain way because that's what you actually want? Or are you just living through the lens of the last person who was like that? Are you just living through the lens of the person that was in that space before? I used to do this a lot with partners that I was with. I used to do this a lot with people I was dating. I would say, look, I've been cheated on. This person did this to me. This person left me. This person lied to me. This person hid everything about who they were. So that's your problem now, and I'm not going to bend. I'm not going to change. It's your issue to deal with. And in doing that, it puts such a negative energy into the new relationship I was trying to create. It destroyed a foundation of trust. It made it so that I never really felt safe, and it wasn't even this person's fault. I'll be really honest and say I've done this in my current relationship with my current partner, and thankfully he is a gift and has helped me work through these things. But I remember going to him one time and just saying, early on in the relationship, saying, I'm just so afraid that I'm going to find something out about you. I'm so afraid that I'm going to find out that you're not who I think you are. I'm so afraid you're going to be hiding something, and I don't want to find myself in this situation again where I'm having to go through your phone to find out that you're cheating on me, or there's infidelity, or you're hiding this thing. And I was keeping the energetic residue of everything I'd been through and putting it into my new dynamic subconsciously. I didn't even want that. I didn't want to look at him through that lens. I didn't want to sit there and say all of those things to him. I felt embarrassed. I felt crazy. But the reality was I hadn't fully dealt with it yet. I hadn't dealt with why I even chose partners who were like that in the first place, why I even had a pattern of partners who were abusive and cheated on me and lied to me. And I worked through a lot of that and found that I didn't even really believe he was that person. It was just looking at him through the lens of everybody that I had dealt with before. When you look at your person that you're trying to create a new healthy dynamic with, always through the lens of everyone that's fucked you up in the past, you're going to continue that cycle. Not saying that person's going to do it, but you're going to continue having and holding that energy in your relationship. And that's not going to give you what you want either. What you're doing when you're speaking from that fear or that anxiety from past relationships is you are making that fear your foundation. You're making that anxiety your foundation. And it's not easy, but one of the best things you can do for that is to just notice when those moments come up and say, okay, why am I feeling this? Do I actually believe this about this person? Because if you're seeing signs and you believe it genuinely in your gut, something's telling you that something about this person's off, or there's red flags, that is something to listen to. But if it's just your fear, if it's just you and your brain saying, hold on, the last time we were with somebody, they abused us, so we should just be alone. But that's not what you actually want, then you're setting that fear and anxiety as your foundation, and it's really hard to undo that when that's what you're doing. It creates resentment, it creates instability, and it makes it really, really challenging for you to look at them in any other light, and that's not fair to them. That's not fair to perpetuate that cycle onto another person who doesn't deserve it. You're doing the same thing to them that was done to you, and it's not fair. And if you can take a step back and really tune into yourself and say, is this what I actually believe? Do I really believe that, in my case, this person is hiding something from me, that they have some kind of secret alter ego that's gonna hurt me? Or is this person safe? Is this someone I can trust? Is this somebody who makes me feel relaxed? Is this somebody that I want to hold on to and cherish? Because you really only have two options. You can move into the dynamic with this knowledge and this trust and this communication that you're going to have these moments where you struggle. You're going to have fears that come up, but relay that to them. Let them know, clue them into what's going on so they're not over there like, I haven't done anything. What are you talking about? Definitely had a couple of those moments when we first started seeing each other. But the more that I communicated, hey, listen, this is what I went through, and it really was hard, and I'm afraid. I'm scared that you're going to be the same, but I'm choosing to believe that you're not because I choose you. You feel like a safe person. You seem like a safe person. There's all of these green flags. And so I just want you to know that I'm going to have these doubts. I'm going to have these insecurities. I'm going to have these fears that are going to pop up every now and then, but I want you to know I'm working on them. I'm dealing with them. And I would appreciate if you saw me and talked to me and reassured me. I would appreciate if you stepped forward in being the safe person in those moments to show me that I don't have anything to worry about. I don't have anything to fear, and that I'm okay with you. And that is a level of intimacy that you can have in your relationships that is like mind-blowing. Speaking as somebody who has never had that up until recently, it is so healing to be able to go to somebody that you feel safe with, that you trust, that you know in your gut is the right person, and say, I'm having a hard time. Can you just reassure me? I mean, there have been times I've texted him and said, hey, I am having some fears come up, some old fears come up. You're not hiding anything, right? And he'll just say, no, I love you. And then I'm good. All I need is that little check, that little mental reassurance that nothing's going on, that he is a safe person, that I'm okay, that I'm at peace and healthy in this relationship. By not allowing the energetic residue of everybody else that came before him that's hurt me to permeate my current relationship, I am thriving. And in a way, I'm learning to trust myself more, because it really takes a lot of internal work and a lot of self-confidence to be able to say, I trust my gut. I know when somebody's off. I know when somebody's not safe because I can feel it. And that was something that when I really looked back at it, I knew every single time that I was entering a relationship with somebody or in the early talking stages with somebody, I knew they weren't right. There was something about them that didn't make me feel safe. But because feeling unsafe was so familiar to me, I jumped right in. Because feeling that stress and fear and anxiety and that knowing that they're not who they say they are, it was so familiar to me with all of my previous relationships that I just kept doing it. I kept jumping into what I knew, even though I was so unhappy and so mistreated. And when I chose to break that cycle, when I chose to say, I'm tired, I'm exhausted dealing with these men who haven't dealt with their shit and can't be committed in a relationship. I'm tired of having friendships where they don't treat me well, and I deserve more. I don't need these things for validation. It took a lot of work to get there. It took a lot of time and healing and therapy to get there. But I can say now that leaving the energetic residue of all of the shit that I went through before and all of the ways that I was hurt, and being able to go to my partner and say, I trust you completely. I'm happy to have you. I feel safe with you. I feel like I can be soft and vulnerable, and I don't have to look out for what's coming next. That is such a gift that you can give somebody that you love or that you want to have a relationship or some kind of dynamic with. It is such a gift to be able to feel whole and complete, to go to them and say, I'm not allowing what everyone else has done to me to be my lens. I'm not allowing all of the pain that everyone else has caused me to be my compass. I'm going to trust that I know you're safe. I'm going to trust myself and what my gut is telling me and what my intuition is telling me, and I'm going to move forward. And you know what? And you still will never be able to fully guarantee that you won't be hurt by somebody. You won't be hurt by somebody that you're close to. We're humans, we're imperfect. We don't always do everything right. But if you can go into a dynamic without carrying the past with you, without saying, this person messed me up, so that's the way that I am, and take on the responsibility of changing it, of saying, you know what, this person did really hurt me, and I appreciate your patience while I work through this. I appreciate you being understanding, and I will do everything I can to not project that onto you because you don't deserve it, then wow, think about how much more beautiful and harmonious the world would be if we could operate that way. If we didn't just say, this person hurt me, so I'm going to hurt you too. Or this person hurt me, so I'm going to look at you through that lens forever. If we could do that, if we could choose to move forward in our relationships in a different way and choose to not carry on the past into the present, then I have a feeling we would all find a lot more peace and our relationships would thrive. Maybe try it. Maybe see if it works for you in the same way that it's worked for me. Maybe carry this with you the next time you are feeling that fear or anxiety that the same story is going to play out, that the same thing is going to happen. And see what you find. See what happens when you choose to move differently, when you choose to move with honesty and authenticity and self-awareness and self-responsibility. Maybe you can't control what happened to you in the past. Maybe it was out of your control, but you can control how you let it affect your present, and you can control how you move forward. I hope that's helpful. I love you. I see you. I support you. And I can't wait to connect with you again soon.